Everyone, welcome back to Sketchcraft. It's gonna be a quick art tip. It's one of the very few times I actually do this. Someone asked me recently, how do you draw in silhouettes? And I started thinking about that, like how did I learn how to do this, um, and why I sort of prefer to develop in silhouette. What you see here is a silhouette. This will eventually be a full drawing. I'm working on a series of Batman kind of saucy, so this is like a Batman Beyond silhouette. And so, rather than get super complex and walk you through a giant, complicated piece of art, I thought what I'd do is just sit here and kind of show you how to develop this sort of ability to do this, right? I'm just going to go ahead and draw right in this same template. All right, I'm just going to take about 10 minutes here to kind of like let me time myself, kind of develop some techniques. So let me show you the benefit. So here's what is typically shown in art books, right? Art books say, let's say I wanted to draw a big monster, big Hulk kind of monster, right? It would say, come up with like a stick figure, you know, and we would kind of say, I don't even know how to like think like this. So, and then you would, maybe do like this, and this would be a hand, and this would be a hand, and this would be a face. And then you would build up these shapes, all right? And this, and maybe you'd connect, and then there would be an arm, and this. Now, look how many lines this takes, right? And at the end of the day, it's pretty generic looking, you know? But now, what if you wanted to arrive at some pretty wild, you know, takes, some of the real alien kind of like stuff too, right? Let's say you got a chance to be more creative. What are you supposed to do? Like, if it's a giant monster, am I supposed to kind of bipedal these things out? Maybe, you know, so you could sort of see, I don't know, I don't, so show you why I started doing this a long time ago. Let me just take some shapes. I like to think about it in shapes, so you can some blobs, right? Right, we can sort of like pretend you see things, and it's going to be a little janky at first. You can erase, you can erase, or you can just do this in black and white, or come up with stuff. Or and so I'm just like putting a little blob down. And then what I like to do is go right over, and you can very quickly just start to build your shapes. See these things before you did? You could say, well, let's say the head would be here. I see the head. I've done this so many times. And then I know trapezoid would be here. Chest would be coming down. The foreshortening, if you don't know what that term is, has already been done for me because it's in the blob. And then I can just draw the surface topography over the shape. And if it's off a little bit, I'll just add this here. Invert, add. Merge down and just sort of fix the feet. Same with this. I can come over here. I'll make a new layer so I can change my mind. This has actually grown in popularity over the last couple years, probably because sites like Gnomon. Turns out that schools like Pasadena College of Arts or whatever would teach us a long time ago. They would do it with markers. I didn't know. It's just something that I had stumbled onto. And I'll show you how I stumbled onto it about 1999. Was I was drawing stuff, right? And I was trying to figure out foreshortening, which is, let's say you want a hand in front of somebody, right? And you're trying to figure out, like, where does the elbow go, you know? And that's how it's usually taught. And I was struggling with it. And so I just got a Sharpie out one day. I was like, well, what if I just, went like this, and not the best example, but made a blob there. Sometimes Photoshop doesn't want to. So see how much like easier and subtle that is? You just train your mind to see into the shapes. It's actually pretty easy to see into shadows. I actually just kind of, I tend to squint my right eye for some reason, maybe because my left eye is a little more dominant. Yeah. And, you can draw. And so the foreshortening is already, this is still rough. It's not, anatomically all worked out, but you get the idea. So let's just go ahead and try this one more time from scratch, right? And see how we can play it out to its extreme. Let's say I wanted to have like a little scene. I want some, usually when I'm coming up with a pose, I like to kind of give a little background element. So we can just block in some buildings, right? Some building elements in silhouette. So I can, so maybe there's like a chimney. And I know perspective. So like, I know, it's probably gonna go back like this. Generic monster looking thing. Maybe a little more toward me. And you could sketch in like different colors too if you wanted to, if you want to have it all tied together. And then very quickly, you can just invert it and be like, all right, so like I think the head's a little too big right there. How cartoony you want it to be, right? Main thing is always finding center. So if I know where the center of something is, it's a classic construction building. You can start to build shapes around. I really don't like that face. So I don't know what this is. So you can quickly see how like this sort of sketching can get you then you can just take this and clean up the edges. And then if you select the whole thing, right back over it, or in this case, cream, I guess, because that's the background of the color. Just trying to pass it in. You got a nice guide, right? You could come in here and quickly start to sketch everything in color. And that's how I do things like this, you know. This starts with the silhouette, and then I get this little color guide. I can just paint color right on top. You know, and I'll just sample from these colors so you can see that. Right, I'm just gonna go ahead and just sample Rogue's colors, because why not? So I'll put the line arts on top of the colors so I can keep them in. Control H, I don't see those. You know, and this would be like just to give like a concept to somebody, right? So you could fill this in quickly with a black or a dark purple on a separate layer. Set it to like sometimes I like a hard light depending on how I want to tint it. And you start to underlight, make it more dramatic, right? That is a whole lot faster than drawing this shit. That's still too dark. Stuff. Just fill that in. So that's a much better or easier way to concept out, you know, than trying to, for me, it's far more easier. Now, the downside of this process is it makes it very difficult to do commissions this way at cons, drawing in silhouette. So the trick is to practice enough so, you know, you have to sit there and draw the old fashioned way. Yeah, you can do it. Machine gets spoiled this way. We can take those lines, flip them black, send overlay. You can get as detailed in here as you want, basically. This is nothing, right? Um, And then, you could always paint right on top, to work it out. Or you could be like, add, this over here, clean up the details. So anyhow, I don't have a lot of time. Drawing in silhouettes. It's very useful. It's very useful. You can quickly concept and design very, very fast. In the future, I can kind of give tips on how to like really clean that up. The problem is time. So like turning, this into basically turning this into like this right here. See, this is a page that I'm working on, right? I sketch it all in Silhouette, and I turn this into this. This is what I'm working on right now. So you could do something where if you wanted to sketch in some trees, right? I wanted to do a tree, and I'm just sketching these little blotches. Happy little trees, right? I need to clean that up. I tend to duplicate it really quick so it's still solid underneath. And fill it with white and turn the opacity down. And then you can just go right over your little blotch. In this case, like with the lasso tool. Which is a little easier. And just fill that with black. I'll come to this side. So it's giving yourself a container and then drawing within the container. Filling that container up. The idea is that all this is done, basically. So over and over and over. You can see here, even here, I like concepted in Silhouette. So there you go. That's it. Thanks for hanging out. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them. Thanks for hanging out. Draw in Silhouette. Show me your progress. Let's do it. Bye.